Hi. Okay, so after doing Oregon Trail and I was reminded of Myst, I decided, and the Myst games, not Myth, I decided to do a video on Myst. Because when I was in high school, these were the games to play. They're still popular. In fact, I think we still have them. You know what? Let's go look. Why not? I think my dad said that he did not get rid of them, so we are going to look. There we go. Some of the games that were like the DOS and the disc games, we sadly got rid of. But we still have we have like Infernal Machine, and somewhere we still have the Fate Atlantis. Let's see, do we have... Oh, there's that one. And I was pretty sure he had them in order, but... Okay, let's see if... There we go. That's a lot better. That's another Indiana Jones game. I'll talk about that some other time, though I didn't play it. I played part of it. But if Dad has this one, then he has all of them. That's the thing about Dad. A lot of times he has... he likes to keep things, which is good and bad. We have, like, the floppy disk of Commander Keen. And from what we've read, they're worth a lot of money. Sometimes those aren't worth anything. But I might just use that instead of wasting time up here. Well, there's Infernal Machine. Oh, geez. I could use that sometime, too. Oh, my brother loved playing that game. I'm having a nostalgia trip right now. And, some of these, they don't have the case, so we put them in, like, little cases. But this one, is it the whole pack? Does it have all of them? What does it have? Oh, I think that's one of the games. Anyway, let me check over here because we have some games over here too. Oops. Oh, I see one. It's like a treasure hunt for games. Okay, so here's another one. I ended up only playing one of the games, and I started playing another one, and then when Dad updated the computers, which we'll put these over here, back in 2000, like I said in the, gosh, I don't remember which one I talked about. I think it was, Pharaoh. That's the one I was talking about. I just never got back to it. I could probably put them on my computer now and start playing again, which I never really thought of doing. But anyway, here's the original. Do they have... Oh, 10th anniversary. That's what he got. Okay, that'll work. Alright. As McConaughey says, make sure to turn off the light. So these will work. Glad I came up here instead of having to use screenshots on my computer. That would just be annoying. I kind of wish I had looked beforehand, but didn't even think about it. Ugh. So anyway, so Myst is a brain teaser game. But it's one of those games. During that time, everybody was playing it, which was really interesting because, you know, like the jocks, and I don't like stereotyping, but so like the jocks and the musicians and everybody was playing. It wasn't just us geeks, because you have to understand that at the time, these were the 90s, the geeks were considered the outcasts. We were the geeks or nerds who played video games all the time, and we were obsessed with like Star Wars and collecting all sorts of things, and like Star Wars stuff, reading the Star Wars books. So anyhow, let's see if I can open this with one hand. Yeah, there we go. Everyone was talking about Myst. I can remember being in my orchestra class, and there was one kid in there who he not only played in the orchestra, but he had his own band. So at that point, orchestra was kind of an afterthought for him. But I can remember bringing up Myst, and he couldn't stop talking about it. This game was fantastic. So for Myst, it was one of those games. You also have to understand that if you gave away one little bit of it, you gave away the whole thing. It was just, let me see if this shows some of the artwork in it. Nope, it's just a setup thing. You know, like in Fate of Atlantis, if you were to give away, you know, like if you were in New York and you said, oh yeah, well, when you talk to Sophia, you have to say this. Well, then someone goes and talks to Sophia, and then they see like 4 other things that they can say. They're like, well, no, they said that you had to say that. I'm going to tell her this instead. You know, it didn't really hurt the game. But with this, if you were to give away one little piece, it did ruin the piece. And the great thing about this game is that it talked about like color, it did sound, it did all sorts of different things. The brain teasers were hard. I mean, really, really hard. You know, like, I grew up on Legend of Zelda, and the brain teasers and puzzles were hard. They got a little watered down by the time I was in high school. Not a lot. They've become extremely watered down now compared to what I had when 30 years ago. But, yeah. Oh, let's see. Maybe this one. No. I'm trying to find maybe this. Nah. But anyway, usually what you see for Myst when you look it up is the island and the guy falling. So what happens is like his child is kidnapped and he has to go to this island and solve all these puzzles. and that's pretty much. And you go through all of this brain teaser thing. Like, you go into a forest and you have to solve puzzles. You go into this house, you have to solve puzzles. You have to go into this other. It's fantastic. Um the one that was incredibly hard for everybody was the fireplace. And if you ever played or you do play, you'll know what I mean. And it's not one of those games where you get stuck and you can't move on. No, it's like you're stuck on the island and you have to solve all these puzzles. And then when you solve the puzzle, then you can move on to another thing. Basically, you get another puzzle. But that fireplace was a pain in the ass. And I remember in high school, this one kid got through, in our group, got through it. And he refused. I mean, he said that he got through it, and that was it. He shut his mouth. And this one girl was really struggling, and she says, well, can you just give me a hint? And he says, no, because if I give you a hint, then I'm basically telling you how to solve the entire game. And she was getting really frustrated. And let's see, does this show? Oh, that shows a little bit. I'll show you in just a second. So she was getting really upset, and he says, you have to understand that, yeah, that fireplace is a pain, but that's just another puzzle. You'll get it. Trust me. And then you can move on. He said, I'm not going to help you cheat. And he says, plus, if I tell you, I have to tell everybody. And one of the other things, once we all solved it, we realized that the fireplace is different for everybody, kind of like with Fate of Atlantis when I told you. So here's some, if you can see that. That's some of the graphics. It's beautiful graphics. Let's see, does this show? Not very good. The graphics do change a little bit with each game. So Myst is the first one, and I kind of wish... Well, if you ever get a chance, look up the graphics in each one. And like I said, they have each world. So like the forest is a world. The house is a world. I think that's astronomy, because I think, yeah. And it's been a long time. Like I said, it's been a long time, but I do remember the forest world because I got stuck in that one. And then they have because they have forest, and there's a sound, and I don't remember where you are for that one. And there's the stars, and I think there's fire for another one. And so you're using all these elements as puzzles. And fire could have been the fireplace, but I could be wrong on that. But anyway, but again, the teaser, the puzzles really, you really have to open up your mind for it. It was extremely popular, and it got so popular that then you have Riven. And I didn't get through Riven so much. And I wish I had. I got stuck on Riven. And I don't remember the basis for it. I don't know why, what. But Riven. Same kind of deal. Let's see if I can hold this right. So you have Riven. And it seems like in that one, you end up in a culture. You don't talk to anybody, but you find their like the abandoned, like an anyway, and again, it's another one where you use elements because I got stuck on the water. It's pissing me off. I was like, really, this shouldn't be this hard. But again, the brain teasers are extremely hard, and that's one thing that I advise you is do not tell people what they are, because like, again, if you tell one person, you're pretty much giving up the whole game. But yeah, there was a ship, I think there's astronomy in the second one as well, but it's completely different. I think you're using the constellations in that one. I could be crossing them over. I but anyway, um and then with Riven there's Exile. I think this one is the next one. I might be wrong. Because there's then Myst, Uru. Oh, maybe not. Helps if I read. Okay, I'm a little confused because this is exclusively on DVD. Well, anyway, there's like Myst Revelation, and then End of Ages, and then there's this, Uru. Anyway, I know about these three and Uru. I only got to Riven, got stuck, and then Dad updated the computers. You can find it on Steam. However, I've seen a lot of people complain about glitches, so I haven't bought it as much as I want to. But at the same time, knowing that Dad has this, I might see about getting it on here and try to play it again. The other thing is that I've seen that there is a DS version. I'm going to recommend you don't buy it. Oh man. I've read up on it, and usually I usually don't do this, but so many people, when I read up on it, so many people have complained about it, saying that they bought a video cartridge or not a video cartridge, I'm sorry. Saying that they bought a 2DS thinking that, because they needed to update anyway. And so then tried to play their Myst game, and it was going all kinds of crazy, and so it was like they just had to return it anyway. I mean, they just got rid of it. So there's a bug in there somewhere. It just isn't, it's like it just didn't translate well. So, which is too bad, because when I first saw that, I was like, oh, I could get another DS game, and then I'm reading all the complaints and all the terrible, it wasn't getting good reviews, and I'm like, oh, okay. Well, that's too bad. Because I don't have very many DS games, but that would be one to. Because I have like Legend of Zelda and then the Kyle Hyde games. Those keep me going. But so anyway, Myst, like I said, you would think that it would just be one of those for like the nerd and geek kind of people, but when I was in high school, everybody was playing these games. They loved them. I mean, they were talking about them. They were actually, it was like the only time that the jocks and the cheerleaders, the popular kids, were talking to us. And we were kind of confused. We were like, are you lost? But it was actually neat that there was something like that that would drop the stereotype and have people come together like that. So it was really cool because in the cafeteria we would be talking about Myst and how to move on, you know, or not so much move on, but we would talk about where we were in the game and that sort of thing because we knew, you know, you know, yeah, we were dumb teenagers and everything, but we knew that if we gave away so much. Now there is a parody. And it's actually really fun. I mean, we were in tears laughing because of this parody. And it's called Pissed. Pyst. I wonder if you can still find it. Let me look. I think the Mad magazine put it out. I could be completely wrong on that. I forgot who put it out. There it is, right there. Yep. Adventure computer game published in October 96 was created as a parody of the highly successful adventure game Myst. It was written by Peter Bergman, co-founder of Firesign Theater, and published by Parity Interactive. I guess you can still find it. Oh, the company is now defunct and the game is not currently in publication. Got ahead of myself. So yeah, there was a parody, and it was just as successful as Myst. And I guess that the guy who created Myst got a good laugh out of it. But let me. Oh, it was Robin and Rand Miller were the ones who created Myst. So just to be clear, the plot. The player assumes the role of an unnamed person known as the stranger who stumbles across an unusual book. Okay, I can see now that I'm going to be way off. The stranger reads the book and discovers a detailed description of an island world called Myst. Placing his hands on the last page, the stranger is whisked away to the world described and is left with no choice but to explore the island. Of course. I could have sworn that it was about his... Oh! Myst contains a library where 2 additional books can be found. These books are... Okay, so there is a son's element. These sons who once lived on Myst Island with his wife Catherine. That's what it was. So I wasn't completely wrong. Okay, and that's all I'm going to say because then I'll end up telling the whole story. And then Riven... Will it show me Riven? I bet it won't. Ugh. Riven. Is that how it's spelled? Yeah. Couldn't remember if it was. Okay, the plot. Okay. So basically, Stranger is needed again to save Catherine, who is held hostage in Riven. Again, I got stuck on that one. And I guess in this one, yeah, see, you end up in a settlement, like an abandoned settlement, and they actually used a real Native American settlement as part of, because there's a lot of uh, video games that do that, like Fate of Atlantis for the Azores did that. So, yeah, the graphics are okay for being what it is. And then, let's see, let's look at Exile real quick. Oh. Exile game. There we go. Well, that's kind of neat. The graphics in this one are a little bit more complex. You know how in Prince of Persia it's more polished and it actually looks like a man instead of a blocky. Yeah, they did that one. They did that with this one. You can see behind the scenes stuff if you look behind the scenes. But let's see. So it takes place 10 years after Riven. And again, the whole book thing. So yeah, it's apparently Catherine and this guy need his help again. And but this one, I think they released it because it was released in 2001, and that was when a lot of graphics were becoming a lot more polished, like I said. And they kind of jumped on that. This one, to me, I remember my brother playing it and my dad. And it wasn't as exciting as the first and second, but the graphics were really good. I think that was the one thing that they praised it on. And looking at it, I can see why. But one thing that my dad said, and yeah, my dad is a big gamer. He's just as big of a gamer. And one of the things he said is, you know, you have the other two games that were really strong, and the puzzles were strong, the story was strong. He said this one, the story was kind of like you expect something else. And of course, they made another story. He said, but at the same time, it was like they were trying to show that they could make those graphics like everyone else. So he said it wasn't bad, but at the same time, when you had those other two. So, yeah, my brother and my dad weren't like incredibly, you know, excited over it, but I was going by them more than anyone else. I'm sure other people liked it. I haven't played it, so I can't exactly say. You know, I can't tip the scale. But anyway, so and then you have the other two games or other three games. I believe there's more, but I don't. We don't have them. So, but anyway, so yeah, this is Myst. Um, Great brain teaser game. The story is phenomenal. I highly, highly recommend playing it.